and they kind of dug their own grave.
Yeah, I think it. I know I'm not the only one who thinks this. I know there's a bunch of people out there, including the listeners and so forth, so on. If WWE, especially with McMahon, would just lighten up on the over heavy scripting and let these guys kind of go out there and just give them bullet points, I would like to just have them try that. Just try it. Hey,
let Paul Heyman run a promo workshop.
He can do that. I mean, Paul's got his flaws too on some booking.
Right. So. Well, I'm not saying he's perfect, but he is a good promo. He will convince you to buy into a match.
Promo's fine. I just more or less, I think some of his booking, this can be okay, but not the answer to all things either. But
I'm not saying for him to book. I'm not for him
promo. Promo's good, yeah.
I'm not saying for him to book. I'm just saying promo workshop, like me up with Paulie, see what you guys can come up with, see if you guys can work this out, to where they don't have to memorize everything, but like you said, do bullet points.
When you're reading off a script non-stop and happen to do whatever what's on the script, it takes away. And it's like WWE's writers, I don't think really any of them, for one. At least right now, which are retired wrestlers or people that are in the wrestling business, as far as my background's in Broadway or something, or soap opera. As far as the soap operas you see on CBS or ABC or whatever, it's like you don't have the knowledge of, hey, this is my character. Well, here's what we're gonna do. Here's what we're gonna do with your character. And it's like that's what it causes issues. I'm like, you don't know wrestling. You don't know my character. You don't know where it needs to go at. And it's like sometimes that's an issue that comes in. You look at
right.
Go ahead.
No, I'm agreeing with you. And one of the things I think is missing with WWE, because I kind of don't think you necessarily need the background for wrestling, but that's just my opinion, because I think someone that's maybe grown up a fan might be able to write for wrestling that better than someone than maybe has written something in the, like, for instance, I think a fan could probably write better than Jim Cornette could write nowadays.
I would doubt that one, but I guess what I was saying about wrestling is I don't know these writers personally, obviously, but it's more or less how many of these people are true wrestling fans. I mean, they
exactly.
As I said, maybe a few of them are, but how bona fide do they know what they're doing? That's this business.
And for me, I don't know what the writers do, but I would like to think that they sit out there and watch what happens throughout the show, engage his reaction instead of saying, "Oh, well, he messed up that line." And I kind of feel like they don't really buy into it completely. They might have the script, but if you're seeing something go wrong on TV and you're like, okay, we got to scrap this idea and redo it. And sorry, not to mention this, but I do know Vince typically rewrites the script almost the day of, and that makes things worse. Then I know it's Vince's company and it's his creation, and he did have glimpses of genius in the past, but I do think it might be better when Triple H finally takes over and kind of produces it in his vision, kind of like he did with NXT when NXT was on the WWE network. They're probably going to be better off, but we have to see what Triple H does once Vince kind of takes a back seat.
You also look, and I know the company went public, 99, but you're looking before then too as well. He only had a few writers. Your main guys that was going over the ideas. You had McMahon, you had Bruce Pritchard, you had Pat Patterson. Of course, in that time frame, you had Russo and you had Cornette.
The Briscoes.
Briscoes. It's like, but your main guys that traveled with Vince more in-depth ideas that were going over just a few guys, and it was like you don't need a huge writing team necessarily. Especially ones who don't really understand it to the point. And that's where the problem gets at. When you try to go over scripting, it can kind of lead into the wrong direction.
Yeah, and that's what we're seeing. And I understand that they have to control for advertisers to an extent, but
Oh yeah,
you can get around that with like, okay, look, if you say something along these lines, you're done. We can't have you on TV for a while. And even then, like when it wasn't scripted, I don't recall them necessarily going too far out of the line. Not necessarily with WWF, but in like WCW. I don't remember them going too far out of the line. Now WWF did, but that was WWF's gimmick, is to go over the line constantly.
yeah, all back then, yeah.
Yeah, back then, not nowadays.
The thing about we'll move on after this. One thing that I cannot agree with, the later a lot of fans say constantly, or at least a fair amount of time, is bring back the Attitude Era. The problem is you really can't. It's more or less you had so many people back at that time frame that you didn't have today. I mean, you want to bring this time period going on. Well, you don't have your characters. You can't just throw characters out there that don't match with that era and don't match with that content. It's not going to match the whole way. You don't have to have the Attitude Era back, but certainly don't need to be. Well, a lot of things we see now.
Right, and I kind of am one of those that thinks bring back the Attitude Era, but I don't believe in the characters. I believe in a little bit more of edginess, and kind of taking off the handcuffs a little bit.
Yeah, that's fine. That's perfectly fine.
I don't expect Roman to go out and be The Rock. I don't expect Kevin Owens to go out and be Stone Cold. I don't expect Bray Wyatt to be The Undertaker or anything like that. But you can add a little bit of edginess to it, which they're kind of doing with Roman, with him being a heel. And Kevin Owens kind of already had that existing. It's just whether or not they let him continue with what he was doing. Because I honestly think the Owens, Rollins, they have a good set of talent. I even though I disagree a little bit with the character, I do even like Rollins' new character. I'm a god, essentially. I do dig that, and I even you can add a little bit of edginess to Bray, and it would absolutely work. It would be the form of the Fiend. It would be the form of kid show talk show host that he is. Which, okay, I get it. It's a dig, and it's kind of funny, but and it should only exist if he's having a feud with Roman Reigns. But did you see the wobbly walrus as a reference to Paul Heyman?
Yeah, I just really wasn't digging that Funhouse episode. It just wasn't like, I was looking more forward to something better than that, honestly. But
I'm fine with it only if he gets rid of it once the feud's over with Roman. That's the only way I'm going to be fine with it.
Yeah, I saw that. I just was like, that was what we're waiting for. Just wasn't digging it. That's me. But I get what you're saying, but I just was expecting more than that one. But hey,
right,
can't, have it all.
And again, I haven't seen it, so I have to kind of give my. Oh, I saw the clip, but I mean, I didn't see what's going on feud wise. But I would like to see Bray kind of build up the feud with Roman, where he kind of talks about the Shield and how he was kind of a shitty friend with the Shield. I think that would probably be the best thing they could do to build up that feud. And even if Roman destroys Jey, even use that against him as well.
Yeah.
To kind of shift away from WWE a little bit. Apparently, well, before we do that, one of the things I wanted to touch on is, I guess, Lince Dorado from Lucha House Party, back on that original point. Apparently, he posted on his Instagram that he's done with WWE now.
Oh, really?
So, yeah, Lucha House Party might not be no more. But to shift away from WWE into AEW, I guess they're advertising, effective tonight, for next week, they're advertising a match. It's a TNT title match. It's Brody Lee. Do you know who he's going to face?
Who he's going to face? No, I don't.
The winner of the Mimosa Mayhem match, Orange Cassidy.
Wow. Huh.
I don't know what to think of that. I really don't know what to think of that.
Well, I hope we don't destroy Orange Cassidy.
Right, that's my feeling. So I like the Dark Order, and I like how they're building Birdie Lee up to be this destructible monster who honestly should be his match. Whatever pay-per-view they do next should definitely be against Lance Archer, because I think that would be a really good setup. Even if they do triple threat with Lance Archer and Wardlow, I think that would be a good idea. That way, Wardlow can take the pin. Lance Archer and Birdie Lee aren't hurt. I think that would be a good idea. Either way. Orange Cassidy is getting a following, and you can't send him to the wolf to be devoured.
Yeah, I don't. I mean, obviously, I would think, because Tony Khan's a pretty good booker, I would think that they're going to.
Not according to Cornette.
Oh, yeah. Cornette. Yeah. Sorry, I love a good one.
I don't mean for this guy to be a punching bag every time we do this, but I end up listening to clips, and he ends up driving me more insane.
Yeah. You know, one thing he said recently, I didn't hear the podcast, just seen about it, was I give him credit. He talked about Gerald Briscoe getting released as like, you know, basically put down WWE. Like, why are y'all doing that? Just put him in retirement, give him $1,000 a week, and when you need him, call him up to go travel. I mean, I agree with Cornette. Why are you going to release a guy who's been working for 37 years? He's been through it all with you, pretty much, and all of a sudden you're going to pull the rug out, you know, from it just it aggravates the hell out of me. I mean, there's other people that you could let go. That I'm not saying that I'm not hoping for anybody to lose their job, but you know, if you're going to put something on that, at least say, hey, you know what, this guy's been here for a year, you know, somebody else, and let's let him go and bring get that, you know. Keep Gerald in something, you know, put him on retirement, but let him go after all that time. No, man.
Gerald Briscoe should have been treated much better than he was.
Oh, yeah,
he definitely deserved to be treated better than he was. But, and for all the stuff that Gerald Briscoe dealt with, I think Vince should have definitely let him retire, and that is probably going to be one of the few things I agree with Cornette on.
Oh yeah.
Believe it or not, so when I was doing stuff, I typically just put on a video, usually clips of whatever it is related to wrestling, to be honest with you, whether it be a YouTube channel talking about reviews or talking about the top 10 finishers or whatever. It went into this Cornette thing where he was talking about Joey Janela and Sonny Kiss, and was calling them, he calls them Jelly Nutella, and I forget what he calls Sonny Kiss, but either way, immediately after that, it ended up going to this weird clip where him and his co-host were arguing about what goes on a burger. And I get it. You should be able to disagree about wrestling, but the fact that I even disagree with Jim Cornette on what goes on a burger is getting insane at this point. The dude doesn't believe that you should put ketchup on a burger or mustard, and it's like, I love mustard, man. So yeah,
I think the weirdest part, not to go on about burgers or anything, it's I'm not a big fan of putting mayonnaise on burger. I'm really not, but I know that's.
Then you disagree with Jim Cornette, because apparently that's the only thing you're supposed to put on a burger in the form of a condiment.
Right? Oh
yeah. He's talking about putting on bacon, American cheese, cheddar cheese, leaf lettuce, because you can't have shredded lettuce because shredded lettuce gets everywhere, and a fresh tomato if you have one of those. He goes, and then he says, really, you don't put the co-host is like, you don't put ketchup or mustard on? He goes, no, the only condiment that belongs on a burger is mayonnaise.
I can't. I don't like mayonnaise on a burger. No. I see people do it a bunch of times. I'm like, I don't do mayonnaise on burger. I mean, barely enough to do ketchup.
Yeah,
I like the burgers that have no condiments usually.
Yeah, I usually prefer to do it that way, but you can only do that if it's cooked properly or seasoned properly. Yeah. If you get someone that doesn't know what they're doing, you got to load that up with ketchup and mayonnaise to help give it some flavor. Although I will admit, in terms of eating, I do something weird with mayonnaise, and I haven't done this in a while because I haven't had a burger and fries in a while. But I dip my fries in mayonnaise.
Yeah, I did that.
To each his own. I mean, if I go to Steak and Shake, for instance, I'm the only person in the car that usually gets the side of cheese dipped to dip my fries in.
Now, what I'm down for, is I don't go to Kentucky to eat Sunday barbecue. It's like an hour and a half, 2 hours. So